You're eating 1,200 calories a day and gaining weight. Your breakfast is healthy, protein powder, fruit, maybe some greens. You're doing everything right. Your weight won't budge. Your energy crashes by 10 a.m. You're anxious, irritable, and your doctor says your labs are fine. Here's what's actually happening. Your breakfast is spiking your cortisol. And that cortisol spike is creating a metabolic cascade that makes weight loss impossible. Hi everyone, I am Miriam, functional nutritionist and gut hormone specialist. This is the Perimenopause Reset, where we refuse to gaslight intelligent women about their bodies. Today I'm breaking down exactly what's happening with your cortisol, why your healthy breakfast is not working for your metabolism, and the specific protocol that actually signals safety to your nervous system. Let's go. Here's what everyone gets wrong about breakfast and perimenopause. They tell you it needs to be balanced: protein, carbs, healthy fats, nutrient dense, clean. That's not wrong, but it's incomplete. Your body does not respond to food based on whether it's healthy. Your body responds based on whether your nervous system feels safe. And if your nervous system is in chronic threat mode, which yours probably is, even the healthiest breakfast can trigger a cortisol spike that sabotages your entire day. This is why you can eat the same breakfast as someone else and gain weight while they lose weight. This is why meal plans don't work. This is why your nutritionist advice didn't land for you. Not because the food was wrong, because your body, okay, your body's nervous system state needs to be addressed first. Now, the conventional approach is fix your diet, balance your hormones, lose weight. The tri-shift method is regulate your nervous system, restore your circadian rhythm, then optimize nourishment in that sequence. Because you cannot metabolize food properly when your body thinks it is under threat, period. Most programs skip step one. That's why they fail. Your body learned that resources are scarce and danger is constant from years of restriction, over exercise, and pushing through exhaustion. Now it's protecting you the only way it knows how, by conserving energy and holding on to weight. This is physiology. Once you understand what's actually happening, you can adjust accordingly. Let me explain what's happening in your body every morning. Cortisol is your primary stress hormone, but it is also your wake up hormone. You need it. In a healthy pattern, cortisol peaks about 30 minutes after you wake up. This is called the cortisol awakening response. It gets you out of bed, gives you energy, sharpens your focus. Then it gradually declines throughout the day, reaching its lowest point at night so you can sleep. That's how it is supposed to work. Here's what's actually happening for most women in perimenopause. Your cortisol is already elevated when you wake up, not from natural awakening response, from chronic stress activation. You probably woke up at 3 a.m., your sleep was fragmented, your nervous system never fully shifted into rest and digest mode overnight. So you're already running on stress hormones when your day starts. Then you eat breakfast. Let's say it's a smoothie: berries, banana, spinach, protein powder, almond butter. Sounds perfect, right? Here's what happens physiologically. The fruit spikes your blood sugar. That's normal. Carbohydrates raise blood glucose. But if you're eating 30 to 40 grams of carbs with only 15 grams of protein, your blood sugar rises fast. Your body releases insulin to bring it back down. Now, here's the problem. In perimenopause, your cells are becoming more insulin resistant. That's a normal part of the metabolic transition happening in your 40s. So your body has to release more insulin to get the same result. When insulin spikes aggressively, your blood sugar can drop too quickly. This is reactive hypoglycemia. And what does your body do when blood sugar crashes? It releases cortisol and adrenaline to raise it back up because low blood sugar is a survival threat. So now you've got cortisol already elevated from nervous system dysregulation, plus a cortisol spike from the blood sugar crash. It's 8 a.m. This is the cascade. Nervous system dysregulation creates baseline cortisol elevation. That affects insulin sensitivity. Poor insulin sensitivity creates blood sugar instability. Blood sugar crashes trigger more cortisol. And your body interprets this entire sequence as resources are unstable. Threat is present. Do not burn fat. Conserve and protect. This is why you can eat 1,200 calories of clean food and still gain weight. The approach was never designed for the biology you are working with. Now, let's talk about why protein timing matters specifically for nervous system regulation. Protein does three things in the morning that affect whether your nervous system perceives safety. First, protein provides amino acids for neurotransmitter production, dopamine and serotonin. When you don't get adequate protein, your brain cannot produce these effectively. Low neurotransmitter production increases anxiety, brain fog, irritability, all of which signal threat. Second, protein stabilizes blood sugar. It slows the glucose response and prevents the crash that triggers cortisol. Stable blood sugar signals safety, unstable blood sugar signals threat. Third, and most people miss this, protein in the morning sets your circadian rhythm. Your body uses light exposure and food intake to set your internal clock. When you eat protein within an hour of waking, you're signaling it's morning, resources are available, it's safe to be awake and active. This synchronizes your cortisol rhythm, your sleep wake cycle, your metabolic function. But if you skip breakfast or drink just coffee or eat carbs without adequate protein, you're missing that signal. Your circadian rhythm stays dysregulated. Your nervous system stays uncertain about whether it's safe to expend energy. This is why 30 grams of protein within 60 minutes of waking is non negotiable if you're working on nervous system regulation, not because of some arbitrary diet rule, okay? Because of the physiological signals protein sends about safety and resource availability. Now, here's how to tell if your breakfast is creating this cortisol spike. I want you to ask yourself these questions. Number one, do you feel energized after breakfast or do you crash within 2 hours? Number two, are you hungry again 90 minutes after eating? Number three, do you feel anxious or jittery mid-morning? Next question, do you crave sugar or carbs by 10 a.m.? And finally, is your focus sharp after breakfast or is your brain foggy? If you answered yes to two or more of these, your breakfast is spiking your blood sugar and crashing it, which triggers cortisol. Now check what you're actually eating. How much protein? Most women tell me 15 to 20 grams. That's not enough. You need 30 to 35 grams minimum. Okay? How many carbs? Count the fruit, the oats, the honey, the granola. If you are over 30 grams of carbs with under 30 grams of protein, your ratio is off for perimenopause metabolism. And how much fat? If you are under 15 grams, you are not slowing the glucose response enough. And timing, are you eating within an hour of waking or are you waiting 3 to 4 hours? Most of you are under eating protein, overeating carbs relative to protein, not getting enough fat, and either skipping breakfast entirely or eating it too late. Every single one of those patterns signals threat to your nervous system. Now, here's the protocol that actually works, okay? Protein, 30 to 35 grams minimum. I know that sounds like a lot. Most women are eating 15 to 20 grams, but most women are also cortisol dominant and insulin resistant. You need more protein than the standard recommendations account for. So, what does 30 grams look like? Not a single scoop of protein powder. That's 15 to 20 grams max. 30 grams is 4 whole eggs, 6 ounces of Greek yogurt plus 1 scoop of protein powder, 4 ounces of ground turkey or chicken, or 3 eggs plus 2 ounces of smoked salmon. Now, you're probably thinking, that's so much food. That reaction tells me your nervous system is used to under eating. That perception is part of the problem. Now, with fat, 15 to 20 grams minimum, okay? Fat slows gastric emptying. Your food digests more slowly. Glucose releases gradually instead of spiking. Fat also provides the raw materials for sex hormone production. Your hormones are made from cholesterol. If you're not eating fat, you're not giving your body what it needs to make progesterone and estrogen. Some sources are avocado, olive oil, butter, full fat dairy, egg yolks, nuts, seeds, fatty fish. And then with carbohydrates, excuse me, you need 20 to 30 grams maximum from slow release, okay? Slow release sources. Now, I am not anti carb, I'm anti blood sugar spike. That's the difference. If you're insulin resistant or cortisol dominant, keep breakfast carbs moderate and choose fiber rich sources. Some good options are berries, not tropical fruit, okay? Vegetables, small amount of oats or sweet potato. Avoid juice and multiple fruits in one meal, pastries, cereal, toast with substantial protein and fat. And then when we talk about timing, you want to eat within 60 minutes of waking. This sets your circadian rhythm and prevents cortisol from staying elevated while you delay eating. Now, let me give you specific breakfast swaps you can implement today, okay? So instead of smoothie with banana, berries, protein powder, almond butter, try eating 3 eggs scrambled with vegetables in olive oil, half an avocado, half cup of berries on the side. Why? Why this instead? Because this gives you 35 grams of protein, 25 grams of fat, 20 grams of carbs. This stabilizes blood sugar and it signals safety. Another option, instead of oatmeal with fruit and a sprinkle of nuts, try Greek yogurt, full fat, with 1 scoop of protein powder, 2 tablespoons of almond butter, and a quarter cup of berries. Why? Because this will give you 40 grams of protein, 18 grams of fat, 22 grams of carbs, adequate protein to set circadian rhythm. Another idea, instead of avocado toast with one egg, try avocado toast with 3 eggs, smoked salmon on the side. This is going to give you 38 grams of protein, 28 grams of fat, 25 grams of carbs. Triple the protein changes the metabolic response entirely. Another idea is, instead of eating a protein bar and having coffee, try 4 egg veggie scramble cooked in butter with cheese. This will give you 32 grams of protein, 24 grams of fat, 8 grams of carb, real food, adequate nutrients, and blood sugar stability. And one more example, intermittent fasting. Yeah, skipping breakfast entirely. Instead, try anything with 30 grams of protein within an hour of waking. This is the reason I share this, y'all, this particular example, because fasting is a stressor, okay? If your cortisol is already elevated, if your sleep is disrupted, if you are gaining weight despite restriction, fasting makes it worse. Now, let me be direct about intermittent fasting, okay? Fasting triggers cortisol release. It's designed to. That's how your body maintains blood sugar when you're not eating. If your nervous system is already in threat mode, adding fasting on top compounds the dysregulation. You can revisit fasting once your nervous system is regulated, your circadian rhythm is restored, and your metabolic flexibility is improved, but not now. Not while your cortisol is chronically elevated and your body thinks it's in crisis. Right now, you need to signal safety. Consistent meal timing signals safety. Adequate calories signal safety. Sufficient protein signals safety. Restriction and fasting signal threat. Now, here's what not to do, okay? Mistake number one, drinking just coffee for breakfast. Y'all, coffee on an empty stomach spikes cortisol. If your cortisol is already elevated, you are making it worse. Eat protein first, then have your coffee. Mistake number two, eating enough protein but spreading it across the day. Your body can only use about 30 to 40 grams of protein per meal for muscle protein synthesis. You can't eat 15 grams at breakfast and make up for it at dinner. Each meal needs adequate protein. Mistake number three, choosing low fat versions to save calories. Low fat yogurt, egg whites only, skim milk, you're removing the fat that slows glucose response and supports hormone production. Eat the whole egg. Get full fat dairy. Mistake number four, thinking fruit is free because it's healthy. Fruit is sugar. Yes, it has fiber and nutrients. But if you're eating 2 to 3 servings of fruit at breakfast with inadequate protein, you are skipping what you need. You're spiking your blood sugar. Okay? So keep it to half a cup max until your insulin sensitivity improves. Mistake number five, eating the same breakfast every day without assessing how your body responds. Now, this is where metabolic literacy comes in. You need to notice, how do I feel 90 minutes after this meal? Is my energy stable? Is my focus clear? Am I hungry again quickly? If the answer is no, stable energy isn't happening. Your breakfast needs adjustment regardless of how healthy it looks on paper. Now, what changes first when you get this right? Energy stabilizes within 3 to 5 days. You'll notice you're not crashing mid-morning. Your focus is clear. Anxiety and irritability improve within a week. That jittery, on edge feeling most mornings, that's cortisol. When you stop spiking it at breakfast, your baseline anxiety drops. Sleep quality improves within 10 to 14 days because you're no longer creating blood sugar instability during the day that affects your cortisol rhythm at night. Weight starts shifting within 2 to 4 weeks once your nervous system recognizes resource availability and stops perceiving constant threat. But here's what matters more than the timeline. You start understanding your body's signals. You learn to read what stable blood sugar feels like versus a spike and crash. You recognize when your nervous system is in threat mode versus safety mode. This is metabolic literacy. This is fluency in your body's language. And once you have that, you are not dependent on meal plans or protocols or someone else telling you what to eat. You know how to adjust based on what your body is communicating. That is the actual goal here. Women in our Nourish and Flow Circle community are implementing this right now. One of our members shared with me, changed my breakfast to 3 eggs and avocado instead of my smoothie. Day 4, and I haven't had a single mid-morning energy crash. I didn't realize how anxious I was every morning until it stopped. Another shared, I've been eating enough protein for months, but it was only 20 grams. Bumped it to 35 grams at breakfast, and I'm not starving by 10 a.m. anymore. This one change shifted everything. Y'all, this is what happens when you address nervous system state first instead of jumping straight to nutrition protocols. Now, if you're listening to this thinking, I need to know my specific pattern, I want you to take my free gut hormone quiz. Like I said, it's free, takes about 5 minutes, maybe 3. And it tells you whether you're primarily cortisol dominant, estrogen stuck, insulin inflamed, or T3 downregulated, because your breakfast protocol depends on your metabolic archetype. Listen, what works for someone who's estrogen dominant will not work for the same person or someone else who's cortisol wired. The physiology is different, okay? I want you to take the free quiz, get your results, and then you'll know what to prioritize. And on Wednesdays, you listen, join me for Wind Down Wednesday. I post the replays in our Nourish and Flow Circle community. It is a live nervous system regulation practice session that we do on Wednesdays. Y'all, this is not theory. It is not more information. It is actual implementation. Because you don't need to collect more knowledge. You need to practice regulating your nervous system so your body can actually respond to the protocols you're trying to implement. I'll link the information to our community in the show notes. You can grab it there as well as the link to the free quiz. And I want to share with you guys that this February, we are focused on nervous system regulation all month because it is the foundation of the rest of the tri-shift method that it builds upon, okay? So get the foundation right, and then everything else works. Bottom line, y'all, your healthy breakfast might be spiking your cortisol if it's too high in carbs and too low in protein for your current metabolic state. The fix is 30 to 35 grams of protein, 15 to 20 grams of fat, moderate slow release carbs within 60 minutes of waking. This signals safety to your nervous system. It stabilizes blood sugar. It sets your circadian rhythm. Now, next week, I'll be talking about why you wake up at 3 a.m. Okay, it's not just perimenopause. It's a specific nervous system danger signal. I'll break down the physiology and give you the exact protocol to fix it. Now, if this helped you, please share it with someone who's eating healthy and still struggling with weight gain in perimenopause or menopause. Thank you so much for listening, y'all, and I will see you next week. Take care.